sharing women's history, and they're also going to talk to us about some amazing artifacts and some art that is important to the cultures. And thank you, Ms. Jamie, for bringing these other students in. So what we're asking for you all is your undivided attention, which I know you can do that, your respect, and your gratitude. When the speaker is done, we know to give gratitude through applause. We know not to talk when others are talking. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job, so I already know you're going to be dynamic in this assembly. Just like you were the other day. You guys are phenomenal, and I appreciate it. So without further ado, I am going to hand this microphone over to Mrs. Salas!
Hello, it's so nice to see all of you in person.
That was what I mean. They got excited like it. I'm sorry about
Well, I appreciate it. It makes me feel very welcome. How's everybody this morning? Good. So, Mr. Salas and I talk a lot at home. Of course, I don't call him Mr. Salas at home, but we talk a lot about you there and about what's important to teach kids. We've got two, they're 13 and 10. And so we were recently thinking about what was most important in life for both of us. And I was thinking about my life journey, and what I found the through line is the power of concentration and connection and communication. Those are the three big things. So when I was in school, like you all are, who's in 5th grade here? Anybody? Okay. So when I was in 5th grade, I'm going to take this down right here. So you have a gift for communication. You're able to talk to anybody, understand what they're saying, and make them feel heard. And he said, someday someone will pay you for that. And I always remembered that, and it was, you know, a good note of encouragement. And when you're in school, you're always learning about that. But communication and concentration are so important in life because it can get you anywhere. You all have dreams. You all have things you want to do in life, right? Yeah, and as you're growing up, those things change and evolve and you learn more about it. There are other people that are going to want to help you. And so if you learn who the people are, who know what they're doing in the area that you want to go to, you got to be able to talk to them. And so that's why communication is important in speaking and in writing. The other thing is, when you're in school and learning, you'll start to develop interests that will inform the rest of your life. So I was interested in music. I loved music. I sang in choirs. When I went to college, I sang in bands. I played in jazz bands. I played in a rock band. We traveled, we toured. It was great. It was exciting. And the way that I sort of got into that space was I found out, you know, I can work in a record store. I can meet musicians. I can talk to them about what they're doing, and I can learn about how to promote a band, how to book a concert at a venue, how to travel, how to talk to other musicians. And I did that. And I did that for years professionally. And through that, I learned how to teach piano. And I taught piano for a long time. But before that, I had taken a trip in high school to Italy, to Genoa, Italy. And it was a choir trip. We did fundraisers, and I had a job, and I saved money and earned enough that I was able to go. When I got there, it was so special and it was so different. And my dad said to me once, you know, global travel is so important because you'll find people who aren't like you, and that's good. You'll get different perspectives that you aren't hearing at home, and that's good. That'll broaden your horizons. And I thought when I was there, you know, once we were singing in a huge cathedral. It's called the Duomo in Florence, Italy. And when we stopped singing, the echo went on for 20 seconds. We all sat there and counted silently, and I thought, there's no other place like this. I gotta get back here someday. And after I was sort of done with the musician part, after the band had broken up and I was just teaching piano, I thought, you know, this might be the time to go back to Italy. Maybe I can move there. Maybe I can move there alone. This was kind of before Google. I had no idea what I was doing. I told my parents about it. They said, you're nuts. You're gonna go to Italy and just move there? What are you gonna do? But I was concentrating. I knew what I wanted, and I found out what I could do to get there. I did some research. I went to the library. I wrote letters, and I found a family in Italy who wanted their kids to learn English and piano. I could teach both those things. And 3 weeks later, I moved there alone. And it was the biggest adventure of my life. And it's so important to have those big adventures because then you know you're on the right track when things kind of work out. So the way I got there though was through the writing to these people that were going to give me a job in Italy. I could explain to them what I wanted. I could understand what they wanted. And that's how things move forward, that communication and that connection. So after Italy, when I came home, I was 26. I thought, I have to do something else in life because, you know, just being a professional musician was great, but I felt like there was something else. And so I went on a job interview to be a research analyst at an executive recruiting firm. Does anyone know what that is? I didn't. No. Okay. So, you know the people that are the big bosses of big companies like Heinz Ketchup. Have you ever heard of Heinz Ketchup? Oh, okay. So, or McDonald's. Places like that. We had to go out and find those people and convince them to move to another job if it seemed like that was the right fit for them. And what I had going into that was zero experience in business, but I did have the protection of concentration. I had the ability to connect, and I had the ability to communicate. That was the entire reason I got my job. And, you know, another important thing there was, I didn't have any schooling for this. Those three things, concentration, connection, and communication, will get you almost anywhere you need to go. So, I learned in that role, and that's a job I'm still doing now. I started in 2006 and I'm still doing it. And I've grown in my career and it's been great. I've met all kinds of people. And those people have taught me so much. But the important thing about it is, I talk to someone who has a certain set of skills. I try to understand who they are and what they like and what they want in their life. And if I'm able to communicate to them that I know about a job that might make their life better, and they take it, finding someone work that really fits well, that they're passionate about, is important. Because we spend most of our lives working in some capacity. So there has to be a connection between what you want to do, and what you love, and what you're interested in, and the action you take. So that was how I got my job in recruiting. While I was recruiting, I found that I was writing a lot about the candidates, the people that I was getting jobs for. And I loved that. I thought telling those stories were great. And it started to occur to me that maybe there could be a way that I could write full time. I have a lot of stories in my head. Does anybody like telling stories? Not everybody. It's not for everybody. You probably have other things you like. But that's what I liked. And I thought maybe I could write a book and get it published by a big publisher and have tons of people read it. I don't know how to do that, but I found out how to do all these other things in life. Maybe it's possible to figure this out too. So I started writing a book about Chicago, about jazz music, about politics, about a crazy event that happened in Chicago in the early 30s during the Al Capone time. I researched it for 4 years, I really learned it, and I started writing this story, and it was good. And I thought, what do I do next? I did a lot of research. I talked to people that knew about what I wanted to do, and I reached out to an agent. An agent is a person that takes your book and helps you get it published. So I had to write a letter to this agent explaining myself, explaining my book, and connecting with her. And so with that goal in mind, I did that and was successful in getting an agent. Later, I was meeting with publishers at a big publishing company, the biggest in the world, called Random House. And because of these lessons that I learned throughout life, I was able to meet that different person and talk to them and write them emails and connect with them and convince them that this book was interesting, that it would be good for, I mean, not for everybody, but the people that liked it, liked it. And that's the thing about different interests. We all have different interests. We all have different things we want to do. And that's great. And we can all do them. But the most important thing is concentrating on what you want, connecting with those other people, and communicating with them. That's your action step. And that through that, it sounds general to say this, but anything can be achieved. If you know the right people, you understand your information, and you believe in yourself. Because if you're betting on yourself, and you know that you've got that concentration and that ability to connect, you can do anything you want. I never thought in a million years I'd be able to get my book published, but I thought I might. And using these tools that I learned throughout school, it's so important to listen to your teachers. They might say something that'll change your life forever. And then when you're 42 and standing up in front of a bunch of kids and telling them about your life, you might be quoting them. That's why it's important not to miss things, to listen, to concentrate, to pay that forward through communication and connection. So, especially since it's Women's Month, I wanted to share this with you because I think it's so important in my life, and I hope it helps someone else sort of start to formulate a plan about what you really want to do and what's truthfully yours, your skill set and your gifts, and everyone on earth has them. And you can hone in on that and take action, you'll reach your goals. So I learned about that in school and in college and in my music and in recruiting and in Italy and now with writing. And I'm proud of those things. And you should all be proud too of the things that are budding in you and the things that you're going to be able to do. I hear a lot about you, about how bright you are and how smart you are. I know Mr. Salas is super proud of you. And I'm really honored to be able to be here talking to you today. So thank you so much.
Mrs. Salas, you were phenomenal. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, boys and girls, put both of your hands all the way up. Act like you're trying to reach for the sky. We're going to do a quick little stretch, and then I want you to pull down the sky slowly. Very slowly bring it down. There you go. Yes, you've been sitting. Does that feel good? All right, good. All right, so now, I'm very proud of you guys. I'll wait till you get yourselves all focused and ready. Good job, good job. And now, for our next speaker, we have, no, not Mr. Salas. We're going to have our Director of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Levy. Good morning.
she was focused on what she wanted to do. My story is a little bit different. I can remember when I was in 2nd grade, and I know none of you have had this problem ever in education, in your careers as students. I had the absolute worst teacher in my life. And I can say that standing here today because I still remember Mrs. Hinkle. And I did not like her at all. She was super mean, and it could have been because she was pregnant. But she was really mean at the time that I had her. But the saving grace is that she went out on maternity leave, and Mrs. Hardy, who was a substitute, came in, and she was the best teacher that I ever had. And in that moment, in having Mrs. Hardy, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. So how many of you all know what you want to be right now? Okay. Mr. Jones, tell me what you want to be.
I want to be an architect.
He wants to be an architect. Who else knows what they want to be?
I want to be a writer.
He wants to be a writer. Okay, ladies, you got your hand up. What do you want to be?
An actor.
An actor. And you want to be?
An artist.
An artist.
Singer.
A singer. Now do one more.
A chef.
A chef. So we have a lot of talent in the room. We have people that want to be, they know right now today what they want to be. But what Ms. Salas told you, that if you know that, then you have got to put your efforts into becoming that. So when I was in 2nd grade, I told you I had that worst teacher ever. And when I had Ms. Hardy, I decided I wanted to be a teacher. But guess what I did? So I went through grammar school, went to high school, and went to college, and didn't become a teacher. I became a loan officer for a company called Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. And I hated that job. I hated it so much that I went back to school and became a teacher. So I left that place and went into a classroom full of bright, shining faces that fooled me for an entire semester because none of them were in my class, but I taught them all. These were high school students, so they got to pass classes and they went wherever they wanted to go. And they kind of found me and it was like, well, she don't know, she doesn't know us. It was January. I was new to the building and they just kind of came in. And they started to tell their friends to come in because we were reading all of these phenomenal stories about phenomenal people that looked like them. And they enjoyed my class. So it took the principal to come up and say, you guys cannot be in here. But they could meet me after school. And we could talk about all the things that we talked about during the day. And they were willing to do it. So when you have a passion for something, like I do, and like all of our chefs, our architects, our actors, our singers, you have the ability to do it right now. If you want to be an architect, you have to be good and really good in math. And you, not only do you have to be good in math, but you also have to have a vision. Architects create things. And they create things, they don't create the same thing that somebody else created. They like to be unique in what they create. If you want to be an actor, you have to study to be an actor. If you want to be a chef, you have to study to be a chef. There are some great culinary art schools that you can go to become a chef. And just as Ms. Salas said that she went to Italy, there are culinary art schools in Italy that you can get a scholarship to go become a great chef. So today, it is Women's History Month, and I'm going to talk to our ladies. The one thing that I want you all to remember is that You can do anything that you put your mind to. Even if you don't get it right the first time, or even the second time, or the third time, you keep trying until you get it right. It's very important that you understand where you are at all times and what you need to be doing. When we're in school, we are here to learn. When we're with our friends, we're out having fun, but within the parameter of being good and having fun. So I want you all to make sure that you understand that when you have a dream, follow it. And make sure that you stay the course. Right here, right now, you are starting your course. He wants to be an architect, so he's going to have to take a lot of math and he's going to have to study real hard. There are some people who are not good at math who study really hard to be just as good as that kid that gets it automatically. So we have to do and stay our course and be the best person that we can possibly be at all times. When you are in class with your teachers, and I was over here last week, and I was kind of disappointed with 6th and 7th grade. Just a little bit, not everybody, but just a little bit. Because we weren't being the best that we could be when our teacher was out sick. We weren't being the best that we could be at all times in the classroom learning. And those are the times when you think nobody is watching or your teacher isn't here, that you can do whatever you want to do. Those are times when you're missing out on the possibility of learning something new. That's why it's so important that you stay the course. 6th and 7th graders will be, 7th graders will be 8th graders next year. Our 6th graders will be 7th graders next year. And 8th graders need to be thinking about right now that I'm going to be in high school. And what are you going to do when you get there? So I want you to make sure that you understand everything that you need to do. Dr. Yale has something to say, so he can come up and stand next to me. Think about everything that you do as you are planning your lives, because we have some students that have plans, and those plans need to be followed through. Okay, so Dr. Yale said he wants to say something. Me and Dr. Yale go way back from kindergarten to now. Okay, so Dr. Yale, what you got to say?
I gotta say, like, if you want to go all the way to college, you gotta do your best to get to that.
All right, well, you heard what Dr. Yale said, right? Dr. Yale said that if you want to go to college and graduate, then you have got to do your best to get there. Because there's an old saying that it's easier to get in college than it is to get out of college. And I think your teachers can tell you that there have been some courses that they may have taken that could have made them think about doing something else. But instead, they stayed the course. So it's much easier for you to get in college than it is to get out, and you have to stay the course. So thank you, Dr. Yale, for that. And with that, I'm going to close out. I really appreciate the way that you all respond to your principal, Ms. Johnson. She is outstanding, so give her a hand. She's an outstanding student. In addition to that, give it up for Ms. Salas, who's a world traveler and an author. And I want you all to make sure that you understand everything that I said, that we want the best for you. We want you to do your best at all times. So even when you feel like you should just write down any answer, don't do that. Stay the course, persevere, and stay strong. Because I know that you can do it, and everybody in here knows that you can do it. Believe in yourself and do your best.
All right, boys and girls, as I told you before, and I'll wait because you do know how I operate. I will not talk when you are speaking, and you will not talk when I am speaking. Boys and girls, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of your perseverance. I am proud of the way you are listening and being respectful. This last speaker is coming to us from the Haitian Museum. I will let Mr. Salas introduce her. But before I turn the mic over, I want to tell you all, it is so powerful to hear from people. Oh, yeah, she can see you. It is so powerful to hear from people who have had experiences that you haven't had to give you an idea of what it was like. I don't know if you guys know this, you should know this, but there was a time where women did not have rights. There was a time when women did not have the same rights as men. So we are honoring Women's History this month, and all the women that are speaking, I'm sorry. Thank you. We're honoring all the women that are speaking so that you guys can hear of these experiences and you can appreciate where we were and where we are now. And you can help build our future to being even better than it was before. And it's going to take all of you to do this.
Thank you again, everybody, for coming out. This is Elsie Hector Hernandez. If you guys remember some of the exhibits that I did from the Haitian American Museum of Chicago, Elsie is the founder of this museum. She created it from nothing, from scratch. And since 2014, I've been working on projects, international projects with her, artists and musicians, and people come over from Haiti, and she makes opportunities for them. She really does so much, not just to help the lives of other people, but also to make sure that culture is preserved and understood. And I want you guys to understand this. Throughout the Caribbean, especially when you're considering Haiti, even if you are not Haitian, it is an incredibly important part of American history. So she is bringing that element in history. When we had the DuSable exhibit up, even a lot of the adults couldn't tell me one fact about him, but Elsie brings that stuff to us. She's done a lot of humanitarian work, and I will let her speak for herself for the rest of this, but she is a dear, dear friend and colleague, and it's a great honor to have her here at this school. So let's give her a round of applause.
Good to go? Testing? Yes, I do. Okay, bonjour, bonjour. Qui j'en nouye? Bonjour, qui j'en nouye? Good morning, how are you? My name is Elsie Hector Hernandez, and it's an honor to be here with you today at your school. I am so glad to be among all the students, the administrators, the teachers, especially teacher Salas, Ben Salas, staff and guests. My name is Elsie Hector Hernandez, and I was born in Haiti, and I came to the United States about your age, as a child, a very young child, from Haiti. So it's an honor to be here today to talk about Haiti. So I will share a PowerPoint very quickly with you to give you a little bit idea about Haiti. And then I will say also I am honored to say that I will be also talking about the Haitian American Museum of Chicago. So Mr. Ben Salas, may I share the screen with the children, please, with this guys? Thank you. Yeah, I'm working on it. see the screen? Yes, Mr. Sellers? Okay, great. So, my name again is Elsie Hernandez. I am a registered nurse with a Master's of Public Health from the University of Chicago, University of Illinois in Chicago. I am the founder and president of the Haitian American Museum of Chicago. My first part of this presentation will be talking about my role as a nurse, and I don't want to tell you when I graduated because I don't want to give you a math calculation to do. But it's been quite a few years. It's been 4 decades, or each decade is 10 years, so you can figure it out at the end of the day how many years I've been a nurse. But we'll be talking about my role as a nurse and humanitarian relief work as a nurse. That most people probably will not be aware that Haiti had a very severe earthquake in 2010, and that's about how many years now, right? 2010, 12 years, we're in 2022, so it's been quite a bit of time. But I will share with you, before I share my experience with the relief that I was there in a mission, I will give you a little bit about Haiti. Haiti, most of the times you hear, or you may not hear, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and there's reason for that. And there's historical reason for that, but this is what you hear, and it may have its reasons. It's located on the island of Hispaniola. It was the whole island. At first, it was called Hispaniola, and it's located in the Caribbean. Still in America. It's not in Africa, it's in America. So it's right by the Caribbean countries. It shares the border with Dominican Republic. If anybody knows any Dominicans, we share the border. So it's an island that has two countries in the same island. So Port-au-Prince is the capital and is the largest city. Haiti gained its independence in 1804. Again, that's a math calculation for you guys to do afterwards. 1804, how many years has it been independent, right, from France? What you need to know is, it is the first Black and independent nation that you should be aware in the world. They gained their independence, the slave gained their independence, they kind of beat the war, they gained independence from France. Up to now, there's a lot of political instability since the beginning, and it still continues to be. The devastating earthquakes in January 12, 2010, is a major impact on the capital. We said Port-au-Prince, it hit mostly Port-au-Prince, the capital and the largest city. And we also recently had an earthquake on August 14, 2021. So this earthquake in Haiti had a global response. It was in January 12, 2010, and the whole world came together. And people were really devastating. This is a picture of a man praying in front of a Catholic cathedral in Haiti. And it was just a world came to his feet to Haiti for this particular event. We had disaster relief. We have all kind of relief that came. We have countries that came all over the world. The first featured countries that came was Dominican Republic, Cuba, they're right next door, United States, Israel, Canada, Brazil, Italy, China. Everyone came to the help of this particular event. Private people, corporations, including myself, came to the rescue. So there's countless of numbers of countries, countless of money that was donated to the country, and countless of humanitarian support. So as a nurse, my main involvement was with the medical care. So this is a hospital that I was in. I was a nurse there with these individuals. And so there were many challenges with these people who were suffering earthquakes. Many of the things that happens to them, a lot of them lost their lives, but if they survived the earthquake, a lot of them had amputation, They had what they call post-traumatic stress syndrome. Many of them were displaced, homeless, infections, and a lot of mental health issues. So again, public health challenges before and after, and 2 years after the earthquake, a lot of disabilities, a lot of amputations. They suffered an infections called cholera, a lot of mental health issues. So this is really a big to-do for this country. Now, University of Miami is the organization that I joined to help for this particular mission that I went to. So it was University of Miami. It's a global institution, Project Medishare it was called. And you will see that they also had a tent specifically for children, because we had there were a lot of displaced children. We had a lot of children with amputations. A lot of children suffered a lot. So there was a whole unit for children that suffered during that earthquake. So this is the team. You know, when you go to a mission, especially a medical mission, there's a team here of all different people. It was from University of Miami. So we came from Chicago. There were people from Kansas, Alabama, all over the state United States to come into this relief staff meeting. So this was our daily staff meeting that the physicians, the nurses, physical therapy, mental health advisors, and so on, we came together before the day began. This is where the office was, the administration staffing office. So each person has to be giving a delegate a position job. We had to meet in front here in the morning at 5:30 in the morning to start the day. And so we had to report to this office. Again, this is the triage area. If you know, triage area means where the nurses and the doctors decide which patients or which individual will have the first care. So we had the triage area, as you can see, it had to be private, and we didn't have anything. Again, the earthquake, we had to kind of improvise on how that office would look like. This is my team, personally team that I came together with. I am the person with the glasses on my head and with the black purse around my waist. The young lady that's in the purple is my best friend. I could tell you is my sister, but we're not biologically sisters, but we've been sisters for a long time. She lives in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. She kind of worked with me to go to this mission. And the person with the white shirt, with the brown pants is a physician. And the lady with the glasses to the end is a Haitian physician that practiced here in Chicago. So we kind of came together, and the guy behind is a person that we met in Haiti, and he was taking pictures. Here we are, again, on a break time when we worked the first shift. We eating area. We had to be outside. It's really, the temperature is super hot. It's like over 90 degrees every day. So it's really dehydration. And one of the things I must tell you, water was very limited. We didn't have really water. They gave us a bottle of water, and we have to find water at the end of the day. It's really a sacrifice when you're doing this mission, to be honest with you. It's really, really difficult, but the idea is to help people that are in crisis. This is where we lived. This is where we had to be in tent. This is sleeping areas for volunteers and staff. So we have to be in there, and we have to be able to try to avoid mosquitoes. It's hot, there's no air conditioner. And so, to be honest with you, it is very difficult. But if you have that in mind to help other people, to help humanity, that's what happens. You kind of have to do it. This is me, Elsie, and Sonovia with the purple, my friend. And we kind of was mentoring 3 nurses that were Haitians in Haiti. And so we're helping them to help patients. They were what they call CNA here, Certified Nursing Assistant. So we're giving them some tips and educating them about nursing. Here is a picture where when people are displaced, they form a camp. like a camp, like a lot of community, like a neighborhood, right? High Park, whatever, but it's a camp where all the people, certain people come together because they don't have houses, they've lost houses, so they come into a community with a camp. And so these are the leaders of the camp, so they have to establish leadership of the camp and to make sure everything is safe for them in that particular camp. So here we are meeting with the leaders of the camp, and this is myself and Sonovia in the purple, talking with them and how to deliver nursing care, how to deliver emergency care at this particular camp. But life goes on, guys, life goes on. It was a tragedy. The little baby was happy walking around. The mother is smiling. The father is smiling, looking at the baby coming out to see us. It was such a beautiful moment to see after a tragedy, a disaster, that you have smiles on people's faces. So we captured this picture because it really touched us to see. And after a disaster, you have this humanity, this human stuff in you that you will see there are other good things in life, and life goes on. Many Haitians are still living in tents and homeless. Reconstruction is still a slow process, even though it has been 12 years, and then the progress in Haiti continues. Right now, I'm gonna turn this over. I'm gonna turn this over to say to you, after my experience in 2010 with helping the Haitians, they were so resilient in the people. It was something incredible that I decided that I needed to open a museum to teach others in Chicago about Haiti and Haitian art, culture, and history, and to talk about the community. So in 2012, in November of 2012, this door here at the museum located in Uptown was open, and it will continue to be there at the same location. At this point, I'm gonna turn it to Mr. Carlos Bossert. He's gonna introduce himself, and he's gonna give you a little bit of a tour at the museum.
All right. Thank you, Elsie. Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Carlos Bossert, and I'm the Executive Director here at the Haitian American Museum of Chicago. It is very great to see you all. Happy Friday. We got through another week. The weekend is upon us. I've been at the museum since 2019 in the Executive Director position since 2020, and I also graduated from the University of Illinois at Chicago. We've been partnering with your school for a very long time, and actually right now some of our pieces are in your school. So if you haven't seen them yet, make sure to go check them out, and you can ask Mr. Salas where those are located. So as Elsie mentioned, I would like to give you all a quick tour of our museum. Bear with me, I'm gonna do it from my phone. So right now I'm just gonna switch over to that, and I will start at the front of the door. All right. All right, I hope everyone can hear me. So welcome to the Haitian American Museum of Chicago. This first piece is actually one of the pieces that is in your school currently, the Jesse Wetler Academy. If you haven't seen it already, it is a picture of Jean-Baptiste Pointe-du-Sable, who is the Haitian founder of the city of Chicago. That is a very unknown fact to folks who have lived in Chicago all their lives, but it's something that we definitely highlight here as a major part of Haitian culture and contributions to the city. As you walk in, one of our newest parts of the museum is our touchscreen platform. This is an oral history touchscreen platform created by Dr. Courtney Joseph of Lake Forest College. Here you can actually listen to people speaking about different topics and themes. One of them actually is earthquake reactions. Now these four paintings, again, are right at the beginning, and if you look a little bit closer, you can actually see that the painter, the artist of all of these is Mr. Ben Salas. So thank you, Mr. Salas, for your contributions to the museum. These are extremely important as they show 4 generals that helped Haiti during the revolution, pre-revolution, to create the country that we do know now. The museum's first part, the permanent exhibition, really goes over generally Haiti and the stories, historical significance, and different kind of cultural points. We also make a space for voodoo here in the museum, as it's a very important part of Haitian culture and society. The other part of our space right behind me, this corner speaks about women and the environment in Haiti, 2 very core pillars of just the workings of the country, women and the environment. We do have over 500 pieces in our collection. Because we are a small space, we can't always showcase everything here in the museum. But we do have a few items on display. On this side, you see some items that have to do with voodoo, building of altars, and also used during ceremonies. And on this side, some more traditional Haitian household items. We have the coal iron, the oil lamp, and also just some small memorabilias showing, again, different past parts of the culture. On this side of the museum, the second space is our temporary exhibit space that we hold for new and upcoming Haitian American, and Chicago artists. A lot of the artists that display in this area are displaying their work for the first time ever in their artistic career, and we're really proud to be that platform and give a voice and elevate the voices of different artists here in Chicago. Right now, this exhibit is by our current artist in residence, Johnny Hector, and it will be on display until mid-April. So just a quick tour of the museum. Again, like Elsa said, we are located in Uptown. So if you and your families are ever up in the space, just make sure to come and check us out.
So thank you so much, Mr. Salas. If any students have any questions, if there's no time, it's over with. I really am very honored. We're very honored to be in your school today, virtually. I hope that if you have any questions, you could put all the questions to Mr. Salas, and Mr. Salas will answer you all the questions. I invite you to to become a nurse. It's a very, very rewarding profession, helping humanity, helping people that are sick, helping others, and also to be in the arts. So I'm able to balance the science and also the art. So I enjoy the museum, I enjoy putting the art together. So thank you so much. We are located at 4654 North Racine in Uptown Chicago, and we'll be more than happy to continue to give you more insight and education about Haiti. So if there's anything else, Mr. Salas, you want us to do?
Hey everyone.
Thank you so much. Do we leave now, Mr. Salas?
Hello? Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask? We can take probably a few questions. Hold on. Questions? Sammy, I saw your hand. The artifacts in the school. Oh, where are the artifacts in the school? Some of you may have seen those. They've been rotated. They had 2 exhibits from the Haitian American Museum of Chicago. If you remember the wood carvings and the drum and the masks that were up, that was the first exhibit. And then the second exhibit was the picture of Jean-Baptiste Condusable. And that one just got switched out. But we still have the book, and Mr. Dunlap has read some of the articles on Dusable for his class. That's good. We have a question back here? Okay, one more? I think we can take 2 more and leave now. Mary, go ahead. So the question was, can I teach how to paint that? Well, I can teach a lot of different styles of painting, but I would love to have a guest like Jean-Yves or someone who would be willing to speak more on the traditional styles of painting in Haiti. If you were interested in doing more portraiture, of course we can do that. Yes? The museum. Elsie, the question is, did you actually make it from scratch? Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about what it took to create the museum.
Oh, yeah. Because I'm not a collector. So usually to start a museum is because you know about art and you have collected art pieces. So I started from zero. I had the idea and I had to do some logistics with the government and apply for some papers. And then I rented a space, the same space you saw at 4654, with empty walls with nothing much to put in it. So basically I kind of went to the website, kind of download pictures and frame them. So it's not until we're connected with other people that started donating paintings. Actually the first 4 paintings that Mr. Carlos Basso showed you from Mr. Salas was actually the first 4 pieces that we put in the museum as a really painting, actual painting. So Mr. Salas is really one of our original artists that opened up the museum for us because we wanted to put these generals there, and we know we couldn't just download pictures. So we asked Mr. Salas to a connection of mine, and Mr. Salas was more than happy to do it. And he could tell you, because I was surprised when Mr. Salas told me, Ms. Hernandez, it took me a long time to do it. It's a lot of research. The colors that you see, it's not just painting. So Mr. Salas, maybe you could talk a little bit about how you came over with those 4 generals.
Hello. Okay, well, what I will say about that is when Elsie reached out to me, I was honored with that opportunity, but reflecting what Dr. Levy said and what Mrs. Salas, my wife, said, when you don't know how you're going to achieve a goal, when you don't know exactly what it is you need to do, you can't just assume that it's good enough to not know. If you're interested in something, you have to concentrate on it and research it. So I'd say sometimes if I open a book and I don't want to read it, and I know some of you feel the same thing, you could staple my eyes to that book, I will not be able to read it. But when I'm really interested in something and I wanted to do a good job, I knew I was kind of beyond what I was trying to do, and Elsie and everybody who I met at the museum was really trying to start something important, and I was aware I was a part of that. So I researched and I read and I discussed with speakers at the museum. I found out as much information as possible so that when I was painting their founding heroes, that I knew who they were personally. I felt like I had a sense of who they were. And the relationship continued, and that was where my fascination with Haitian history and multicultural history really sprang from. I always had an interest, but Elsie and the museum really helped me to grow. So she's telling some stuff that I did for the museum, but Elsie, you are one of my heroes, and what you did for me and my career and my research and my art, and just the partnership that I've had with you this whole time has been amazing. So thank you, and thank you for speaking on this. Thank you so much. All right, are we good to wrap up?
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Elsie. Let's give a little round of applause for Elsie and all your students today.
My pleasure. Anytime. This is really a part of the mission of the museum. So it gives me really joy. I'm going to have a good day today. I'm so happy to be among you today. So thank you, the administrators. Thank you, the staff, especially the students. Thank you, students, for being here. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.